Alright mates, how's everyone doing? Welcome to another video. I was sitting doing my commanders for Kingsland, putting on the Ox Scales and stuff like that, and I realised this might actually be a really good time to go through my investment priorities for different commanders and what I actually think the best marches are in the game. I know other content creators do similar, but I think that the best way to make a decision is to get various opinions. And some of my opinions might vary from some of the other people that do these kind of videos. So I'm going to throw it out there and hope it helps some people. If you like these videos, I think like 86% of people that watch them haven't subscribed. So, you know, hit that button. What you doing, man? And thanks for the support. I'll be making guides every couple of days, different content. So, you know, if you subscribe, you know, you'll get the notification thing and you can come back and see more if you're enjoying it. But that being said, let's have a look at investment. So this tier list that I've started making here is basically just investment priority. So if you're sitting with gold heads, what do you want to get and in what order? And I've started by saving us all some time and putting all the donuts that are out of date down the bottom. We don't care about these guys, these ones here. So first of all, we'll just, what we all know, QSH. QSH is just the best in the game. There's nothing that rivals him. He's part of the single best march in the game. If you don't have him, get him. He is, I have seen reports of this commander running purple gear, revival set, and still turning 2-to-1 reports. That was in B seed. So I mean, like, if you, even if you're not running an archer march and you can put purple gear on this guy, put YSG behind him, you know, he's going to do you good things. Second after this is Achilles. He's new. He isn't as good as QSH. I'll tell you why I think he's not as good as QSH. A lot of the reports that you see are people who run inscriptions that have like Delta, Butterfly, Causative. They also have tier 5 gear that's proccing, horns, rings, you know, all the toys, all the bells and whistles. If you have all them, Achilles could be up here, right? But as I just said, you can run QSH with purple gear. If you run this guy with purple gear, you are going to get not good reports, right? They aren't going to be as good as what QSH is. So there's definitely a power difference. However, I'm looking at long-term viability, and I think he is going to be in the 2 cav march going for at least the next 2 cycles, and probably the single cav march at least until the next cycle. So long-term, you know, you're talking at least a year, year and a half, he's going to be there as far as, in my opinion, right? This whole video is my opinion. People agree, they'll disagree, but this is my opinion. On the same note, I'm going to put Arthur here. He isn't as strong, is long-term viable as Achilles, but as part of a 2 cav, considering skill get damage looks like it's mostly dead, unless they do something that we're not expecting. I would say Arthur is long-term viable, but not as good as Achilles. Okay. Gang Gamcha, he is probably part of the strongest cav march in the game, which I would say is him and Achilles. However, due to the fact that he's single target, I would put the gamble on that he'll fall out of the meta before Arthur and Achilles does. He is not bad. He is actually very, very good. But when it comes to ball fighting and field fighting, I would rather run multiple AoE marches personally than I would slotting him in. Now, if it's like an altar fight or something, his sustain would mean that I would always run him even though he's single target. The same way as I would maybe put Shajar behind QSH or something like that. But if I was putting money on who would fall out first, it would be him. And if I had gold heads right now in my account and I was looking at what cav to go, and I had to pick between these 3, I would pick Arthur and Achilles first before I picked Gang Gamcha. That's just my opinion. Agree, disagree. Yeah, that's where I'd put it. Let's see, Boudica. Boudica's dead. Boudica's dead. I don't see a role for Boudica other than pass swarming. And even at that, now that people are going to be swapping out a skill damage cav armaments and stuff, I don't even know if she's got that. She's no good. BQ. BQ is long-term viable. He is a 5 target smite AoE He has rage in him. He has malice stacks, which is basically insta proc. He is strong. If I was to say somebody was going to pass out of the infantry meta, it's hard to say, but I would say LC probably goes first. But to be honest, I don't see really any of them going. It would be dependent. The damage factor in BQ is higher. They're both 5 target AoE. LC has the extra basic attack that you can proc, which makes him kind of useful in other ways as well. I want to put him as long-term viable, but if he'll fall off before BQ most likely, just for the reason he does just more damage. But again, the second strongest march, or maybe the third strongest march in the game, is literally these two. So same as Gamcha, he's not bad, but he might fall off faster than BQ. He will fall off faster than BQ, in my opinion. Okay, so let's see. Joan. I'm going to put Joan as meh. Joan is probably on her way out. I think she is very close to being down here. But right now, because people still, like for example me, I still have a Cav skill damage set. And I'm very, very close to the point of binning it. Which, at that point, you know, it's hold, don't use it. Still see it in the field. Probably bad reports. The exact same as this guy. This guy is, again, not a bad commander, but he's just falling out. He's, you know, he's probably the next archer to fall out the meta. I wouldn't be rushing to invest in him. If you have him, it's nice, you know, but you can live without him. And then we're going on that train. Belly's the same. I'd say Belly's better than Joan. I think Belly has more uses than Joan. The expertise in Belly is stronger, especially the in and out way that we fight. But again, you know, it's tomato, right? It could be either or. Hugh. Who is, honestly, I think he's washed up. I think this is him falling off. I think he's done. Yeah, I think that unless they change something with the new formation for skill damage, or they bring out a new Cav commander, I think he's going to go the way of the other skill damage commanders. So I'll put him here. The same as I said, if something doesn't change soon, he'll be down into old. Gets very strong single target. He has the reduced rage, fire. On paper, he should be really good. He should be as good as Gamcha on paper, but he's just not. He's just not. William Wallace is, I think, good. Very good, actually. I think that he's overlooked. I know he's single target. He's like Gamcha. He's single target. He has some usability, but he's the next one to go. Once this new infantry comes out in January, I think he's going to be firmly on the bench. And right now, he's only viable as a 2 or more March infantry. I would not be investing in him right now. But since we don't know what the new infantry is like, I'm going to leave him at good, but might fall off soon. And I would say he is the most likely to fall off. So I wouldn't be rushing on the back of this video to really be investing in him at all. If the new infantry comes out and they're rubbish and they're worse than William Wallace, then that's different. There's also the fact that right now William Wallace is part of the rally behind Scipio A. I should probably mention on the back of this, I'm not going to touch rally commanders or garrison. That's a different video, probably outside my expertise. So for now, we'll just stick to field. But yeah, he has that use as well. So we're going to put him there. Guan can be used for Sunset, but I want to say, I mean, he's very, nah, he's old. He's benched even in Sunset. It's a pass on Guan. What else do we have? Trajan. Trajan is used in Sunset. We'll put him in other roles for that reason. He's still viable. He's still part of the meta in Sunset, so we'll stick him there for that. Shajar, same again. A bit of a cheat code for Sunset, the healing. Also really good for other events like Ceroli and stuff like that. A bit of a cheat code for that. So I'll put her in here. For field fighting, no. Altar fights, maybe with QSH and some other cheesy stuff you can do with artifacts and all that nonsense. So put it in other roles. Don't be investing in it. It's okay. It does some things, but it was basically a flop. I'm going to put Philip as long-term viable. Now, he's long-term viable if you run 4 or more marches, because he can float around. For example, if you're running a second cav march, you can put him behind Arthur. If you're running a second infantry march, you can have him behind LC. If you're running a second archer march, you can put him behind Zugilon. He is long-term viable. More than Hector, in my opinion. I still think Philip's good. And there's also, what's good about Philip is he does like percentage-based buffs. So he's always going to, and he has like skill repeats. It's not something that's going to be age out. Because if as the damage factor increases on commanders, the chance of proccing that again and the flat 20% damage increase and everything has the same effect on him as it does on him, basically. So I think he's still going to be, relevant. Let's have a look who we got. Scipio Prime. He is honestly, he's binned. He's too old. Ragnar, Scipio. I don't even think they're part of a 2 infantry march. If you're running an infantry skill, then Ragnar Scipio is possible. I'm going to put him as meh because he is still, but he'll go out before Joan goes out, so we'll put him there. Do not invest in him. I very much expect it in January. If William Wallace is going to get benched down to here, then he's getting put in the bin. So that's what we'll say for that. And in the same note, because they're the pairing, Ragnar is stronger. Ragnar is stronger than Joan, but again, skill damage infantry, unless they change something with this new formation, it's going to be skill damage cav. They're done. They're just not it. So like all this skill damage stuff here on this line is just gone unless something changes. This is like you should be investing in the new stuff up the top and then just letting this go to the bin. Constantine is only good for Canyon. That's his really role. He has a big heal if he gets below 50%. I should honestly just put him down here, but since he does have a role in Canyon, still, we'll keep him there. Nevsky is binned. Nevsky's binned. Nevsky has a role in pass swarming, but we didn't put Boudica in for that, so we're going to put him. Nevsky's too old. He's gone. If Huo's almost out, then he is definitely out. So Nevsky's gone. He's good for like auxiliary skills and stuff like that, but as a field commander, no. Well, William we're going to put up here. William still has a place as a 2 cav march, like 2 or 3 cav behind your second combo. He is still really strong for that. It will take to the next cav cycle to put him out, or if you have Hector expertise. Hector obviously beats William, but for now I'll put him here. He maybe could go there, but we'll put Hector there instead. He goes there. Zuge is again the next Archer march could put him out of his misery, like the next Archer release. I don't know. It depends on the formation. He still has a place in the meta as a second Archer march, or even a first, because he can still go behind QSH. So it wouldn't be fair to put him anything below here, but I would not go as far to say it as he is viable in the long term. He is aging, his damage factor start to fall off a bit. Circle E carries him, and he's like utility, but yeah, we'll put him there. Hector, let's think Hector. Hector is, he's not, is he long term viable? Oh, I misclicked. Hector is, he's a strange one. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. He is probably better than William Wallace long term. He's not as good as Philip because he does, like I said, Philip does like percentages and skill repeats and stuff. This guy has like fixed damage numbers. I do think that he is going to be meta garrison behind Cav, and I do think that he is a strong contender for mixed infantry garrison. I also think that he is a fantastic second behind your second Cav. He is also a fantastic second behind your second infantry. But is he someone that I want to invest in? And I've toyed with this for my KVK. And right now, no. They need to add more heads for him. The sources of heads are only from recharge events and Tavern. Not even in Heart's Desire. He's not long-term viable. I think after this next cycle, he'll probably be in the bin. but he's still good. I'm going to leave him here. When we update this in January, we'll see where he sits. Attila has other roles. Attila is obviously a rally, but he can be fielded. You can run Attila and Achilles, and it seems to do pretty good. Even with Delta armaments, by the way, he actually does okay. But again, I wouldn't put him as meh because he's still good. I would put him as other roles, and I would probably put him behind Shajar. Okay, David. David's a question mark. David could be your second Cav guy. Like I said, where Philip is or where Hector is. I'm going to put him here for now. I know he's a garrison. I said I wasn't going to touch garrison. This is in the perspective of him being in the field. As a second Cav march. He won't be part of the main Cav march, but as a second combo Cav commander, him at 5515. I think, off the top of my head, one of the skills is garrison. It's dead. He could potentially be good for that. We will update this when he comes out, which is next MG. The next update of this list will be in January, so we'll do it then in January after the new year. For now, we'll put him in other roles because I can't see how good he is. Yeah, we'll put him there. YSG is the main man. If you're in KVK 1 or KVK 2, I mean, you want him. He's part of the main march. You can put him behind QSH. He's lasted quite long, like really long. One of the most recognised commanders. If you put gold heads in an SLC, probably not, because you would just use Zugi at that point instead, right? But pre-SLC, exact same as Alex. Alex, however, now is becoming less and less relevant. New Smites commander coming out probably puts Alex into here. But again, since it's pre-SLC, he has a place there. Martel Alex is a good march. Martel YSG is a good march. Minamoto YSG is a good march. There's so we're not going to go into pre-SLC marches, but and then we'll put in Bertrand. I'd probably say he gets back here, and then CJ is reasonably decent. I don't think he's part of this 2 infantry march meta, maybe 3. But again, January we'll probably put him. He'll stay here because he's pre-SLC, but like in SLC he'll be a no-go. That's how I would rank pre-SLC commanders. Siege. Now I wasn't going to do Siege, but if you really want like the Siege input, then you go to somebody like Mr. Siege that does Siege on YouTube. But from my understanding and how I see in the field, the best Siege march is Gajamada and Cordoba, and John and his wee friend here are viable too, but much harder to acquire because one of them comes from MG, whereas Margaret and Bybars is old. So that's where I'd put the Siege guys. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that. That's my opinion on what I see. And then there's the new Siege guy that came out. I think he's pretty bad. If there's staying power, I think Cordoba stays longer than Gaja. But again, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in Siege. So we'll put that there for now. And if something changes or I learn something new, we'll move that around. I mean, personal preference, I'd even put them behind because they're a bit more niche. Okay. So yeah, that's our investment list. That's I'm not going to touch gold key commanders, and I'm not going to touch garrisons. What we will look at though is we will look at the best marches you can run. So that's your priority list for putting your heads in my opinion. Let's look at the best marches. So the best marches, if you're having a single best infantry march, you're running 1 infantry, you're running BQ and LC. That's your best march. It is the best infantry march in the game. In pincer formation, and the more you invest in the pincer formation, the best it'll be. If you're running 2 infantry marches, you need to split them up. If you're running 2 infantry marches, I would run this. I would put William Wallace behind here, and then I would put either Alex, Philip, or Hector in here. That's how the 2nd infantry march is going to go. And now the reason for that is each one of these, with exception, I think Hector might have Instaproc, I can't remember, but these 2 have Instaprocs, very strong. And he has a chance to launch extra basic attacks. It basically has a combo mechanic in him, which procs insta-proc more often, and it's really good for ball fighting. And then it would actually be like that in that order. And then Philip has a damage increase. It makes him stronger. It works really well. Hector's just flat smite. He has normal damage increase. Very strong. Not somebody, like we said in the priority list, you put heads into for this. Then Alex, I mean, he's always been tried and true. He's fallen off now. So he's still viable though. I'll still run him potentially. Best Cav March in the game is GG and Achilles. Right now, as it's came out, I am personally invested into both of these commanders. They are the best. Now, how you run it, if you run Achilles up front, to apply the... Achilles up front applies the defense debuff to everybody faster. But I will personally be running GG up front for the sustainability, because you get more sustainability with him up front, so that the healing hits all the combos. Second Cav March now. Second Cav March is... I'm probably going to say that skill damage is binned, and your second Cav March should be combo. I think after this KVK, that is what I will do. I'll revisit this in January once I am locked in on that, because it's a big investment. My second Cav March on that assumption would be Arthur, and then behind Arthur I would run William, or I would bring Philip out if I'm not using him in LC. That would be my second Cav March. And then again, Hector is actually probably even better again, because he can fit. This is where Hector comes in, right? Get Jack Hall Trades Master None. He is also a double combo, and he has an insta-proc. So in an ideal world, Hector's the strongest, and I don't really want to take Philip away from LC, but Philip can go here, or second Archer. So your second Cav March probably looks like this. If you're still one of the people that are sitting with a skill damage infantry, then you run Hool at the front of Arthur, and you run Hool Arthur. I am going to run this in Kingsland myself. I expect it to get wrecked. How I update this video in January will depend on if it gets wrecked or not. Although, to be fair, I have auxiliary skills, might not be a fair representation. But right now, I would put Arthur and probably recommend you go into second combo. I think it's safe to say combo's the future. And with the next Cav release that comes out later in next year, it's going to solidify that. Right now, there's options that make it viable, especially if you have causative plus. I think Who's benched, but for now, it's an option. You can pick either between this or that. Okay, I'll leave them on the end here. The best Archer March in the game is QSH YSG. Now you can run QSH and Zugi. Also works. It's a bit more tanky, a bit less damage. But if you run QSH YSG letters, you can put Zugi in the second Archer March, and if you're running the second Archer March, it is Herman behind him. However, Philip and Zugi, in my opinion, is stronger. Philip gives Archer health, it makes him much tankier. He has an insta-proc, he repeats the Sarkoya chance. I just think he's better. That's my opinion. Again, this is why I put Philip so high in the investment list, is because you can put Philip everywhere. Like, I mean, we've had Philip in the infantry, we've had him in the second Cav, and now we've had him in the second Archer. So this is why I said, if you have 4 or more marches, you're wanting Philip. If you're only running 3 marches, I mean, you're running BQ, LC, Gang, Achilles, and QSH YSG. That's your 3 marches. If you run more than 3, it becomes a bit more complicated. But yeah, guys, that is in my best marches in the game right now. November 2025. It'll change, and I will update this video, and this will become a regular thing with the release of any new commanders. And I know other content creators do it, but you know, a variety of opinions can give you an informed decision, so I hope that helps with you guys making informed decisions. Again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, drop me a like, drop me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Bye, guys.